Hello everyone and welcome back to the Harrison Motorsport YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to be reacting to the sprint race that just occurred in the Formula 2 Spanish Grand Prix weekend. So straight off with the two people on the front row having a bad getaway. We had it was Dirksen and Fornaroli. Fornaroli P1, Dirksen P2. They had a bad getaway, so Browning, who had a great getaway, came out in the middle, split them, and allowed Crawford to come all the way around the outside from P4 to get a Browning, Crawford, P1, P2 going in to the fifth corner. After that, Browning was not as fast as Crawford, and the DRS didn't really go to his way, which allowed Crawford to use the DRS down to turn 1 to overtake Browning. The one driver that was looking great though in the first 10 laps was Ritomo Mieta. Surprisingly, he's done really bad this year, but he managed to work his way up from I think it was P11, P12, so P14 all the way up to P6, using those kind of ramping up the tyres quickly on this high deck circuit and making it stick for him. Then we had Dirksen retiring from P4 with an unknown issue, but unlucky going from bad to worse. Maybe that fed into why he got away really badly on the grid, but either way, it's a bit unlucky for a very wacky kind of race. Dirksen would want to be there. Dirksen's the kind of guy that usually is opportunistic when it comes to these kind of races, where it's a weird strategy. And then we had Vasseur hitting Lindblad on the first corner of the race. I think they were P10, P11, maybe even P12 going into this point. It was Vasseur definitely deserved space going into the corner. I'm not sure if he locked up or what, but he definitely hit Lindblad. Maybe Lindblad didn't give him enough space. Either way, it's gone to the stewards, and they'll have a look. Regardless, it's a bit silly of Lindblad. It's like, you're not fighting for any points here. Keep it clean. You're on pole position for the race. Just make sure there's little work possible for your race engineers for tomorrow. Either way, he still got into the race again, but couldn't master any points in the end, I think, for Lindblad. For sure, it doesn't matter. We'll get into it in a second. Then we had the two teammates from Prema making their year go from bad to worse, with Montoya and Mini colliding into the first corner, similar to just what happened with Vasseur and Lindblad, but between two teammates. So I think this one is a lot more Mini's fault, where he just didn't give him enough room and ended up hitting him, with him spinning out. This kind of threatened to ruin Montoya's race, who starts in P2 tomorrow in the feature race. Either way, Mini retired, which caused a safety car, with his car stepped on track because he lost the engine. However, Montoya got back up to running, put on some soft tyres, and jumped in the queue. But yeah, the safety car, that threw a spanners in the work. Everyone that was, I think it was P10 down, so everyone apart from all of the point scorers and one other person pitted for those soft tyres. And on this high deck circuit, we knew there was going to be very, very good pace, very, very quickly for those soft tyres, with the hard tyre runners maybe struggling. And we saw that straight away on the restart when Vasseur and Dunn, who's now Dunn out of nowhere, I think he came from P19. Now he was in, I think it was P11 going into the safety car. Vasseur was in P10. They just worked their way through the field, overtaking car after car on the most random corners in Barcelona, just because they had more grip, they'd be able to get up to the right behind the car, and then wait for them to have a moment, and then work their way through, put a tyre alongside, they just outbrake the car into the next corner, because they had more grip. And they used this, I think it was almost the perfect amount of laps for those soft tyre runners, because we saw by the end of the race, they were starting to kind of regress to the hard tyre lap times that we were seeing from Crawford and Browning. But either way, Vasseur, Dunn, some other drivers took the gamble and it paid off. And Vasseur and Dunn worked their way up to P1 and P2. Dunn was trying to make some moves on Vasseur in the last couple of laps by the time they had passed Crawford into the lead. They couldn't do it. But some of the other drivers were also getting around Crawford and also Browning. And Stanek, who worked his way from 3rd down to 8th. Browning was the same from 2nd down to 7th, but Crawford managed to retain 4th after kind of building a little bit of a gap but still got overtaken by Villagomez, the one and only. Who knew where this came from? His first podium in F2, working his way back up from the back of the pack to the podium, similar to what we saw from Verschoor and Dunn. So yeah, I think there was also Montoya had a great working his way through, managed to score some good points. Martins also. These kind of guys working their way to like the 5th and the 6th in front of Browning and Fornaroli. This means that Dunn now regains his lead of the championship from Browning, and it makes you wonder, like, why didn't? Surely the race engineers knew this was going to happen. You know, like it wasn't that big of a safety car. They knew it was going to take forever, even if it was still 3 to 4 laps of racing after safety car. It would have been worth it going on to the softs just because of pure lap time and grip. Why didn't we see one of those point scorers take that pit, be the first runner of the soft tyres, and win the race? You know, like even I don't know, like Mieta, who was gambling. It's like, you know, you're going to be backed up to like another 12 soft drivers behind you. Why don't you just take the gamble as well? It's weird to see all of those point score drivers regress there. I know it's a safety first kind of like. But it's a sprint race. It's not loads of points. It's just 10 points for the winner. You know, it's not going to like make or break your season. Very interesting. Personally, I would have made the call to pit if I was the race engineer for a driver in the points. I get maybe why Crawford didn't. He still came out 4th. But like, if you're riding 4th, if you're riding 5th, you know, make the call. Either way, it's done now. And by done I mean done leading the championship again. Starting from, I think it's 7th or 8th, going into the race, because he's holding a 3-place grid penalty for that collision. Yeah, either way, good race weekend, I think, so far. Interesting qualifying, interesting sprint. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win the feature race? That's my next big question. Because Lindblad, he's been very, very hit or miss in the racing over the last couple of weeks. There always seems to be something going on with him. So maybe we see Montoya win the feature race instead of Lindblad. It's because maybe Lindblad will win the penalty, like he has kind of in both of the races in Monaco, like you're looking likely to do in the race that just happened, the sprint race with that contact with Verschoor. So yeah, let me know who you think is going to be on the podium in the feature race tomorrow down below in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Peace!